What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are back with another All-22 breakdown, and today we are here to dive in to this Lions 31-29 win over the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to show some plays that stuck out to me from this game, some of the key plays, and some of the players that also stood out when watching this game back. This was the most enjoyable game for me so far this season. This was an incredible watch. We had a couple young guys really step up in this one, but specifically, it was what the Lions proved in this game. Beating an undefeated team, becoming first in the NFC North, all that stuff is beautiful, but it was what they did to this defense, the efficiency that Goff played with. I think he absolutely played his best game so far this season from start to finish. Thought he was incredible. I mean, I've went through all of these games. This, to me, was the best one. But then also on top of that was the Lions' rushing attack, the success that they had, the creativity, the different run schemes that they implemented. I've heard a lot about the Lions simplifying things, and while they did do that after last week and bringing out some of the tricks, they also did things a little bit different, right? They had their wrinkles to what they did schematically, their ways to find and open up a run game, and I just enjoyed watching it so much. So today we're going to dive into that. Before we do, we got to give a shout out to our sponsor for today's video, and that is BetUS. Make sure you use that promo code YouTube150. It is down in the description below. As we take a look at the Week 8 NFL schedule, the Lions are opening as very heavy favorites over the Tennessee Titans. I expect that line to move a little bit, but this line is massive right now, and the Tennessee Titans just made a trade. They moved off Ernest Jones. Seems like they're a little bit sellers here at the trade deadline, so I guess it's understandable. But looking around the league at some of the lines that really intrigue me, it's a Thursday night football game. It's Vikings-Rams. Let me know in the comment section who you got. As of now, the Vikings are slight favorites coming off a loss. We had the buzz about Stafford. I don't think it's going to happen, but in some ways, I kind of can't understand it. Someone that stands out to me, as ugly as this game may be, it's the Jets and it's the Patriots. Like last time, this was the Jets' best win of the season, but this is a 7+ point spread as of now, and after the head coach calling the team soft, for whatever reason, I kind of like the Patriots to keep this thing close. I don't think that they could win this game. Well, maybe they could, but I kind of like them to keep this close. So let me know down below what spread you like the best, which line intrigues you the most, but also specifically who you got. Rams, Vikings. Obviously, we're pulling for the Rams over here. As always, I'm going to try to kind of fly through this, go through some of this as fast as possible. I don't want to spend too long here, but there are a few things that I definitely wanted to give some attention to, especially on the offensive line. Don't think we give them enough credit. Sometimes we don't point those guys out a ton, and today I wanted to, and that's specifically with Frank Ragnow. I think Frank Ragnow played his best game as a Detroit Lion so far this season. I watched this and I was like, man, this guy looks incredible in this game. And this was to me maybe matchup of the year. I know it's kind of an underrated matchup. Obviously, if it's like Chris Jones, we're like, oh, Chris Jones against Frank, that's something to watch. But it's Harrison Phillips. I think he's such a good player, and he's given us so many problems that matchup that Frank Ragnow got to see in this game that he played so well against in pass protection as a run blocker, wanted to give some love there. Now, this is not the best play. It's probably the worst play from Frank Ragnow in this game, so that's probably not the best way to open this thing up. But I did want to show I love Jahmyr Gibbs here. He obviously broke out of this game, had a massive game for us, really led to the 140+ rushing yards that we had, which basically doubled up what Minnesota was allowing on the season. And what I like is the downhill rushing style. You know, you talk about these dive run plays, and we said coming in, I thought that the downhill rushing style was going to be the Lions' best bet. I had about 5 or 6 of those runs charted in this game, so a little bit more than I think we usually do. Now, we did see some of that with Jahmyr Gibbs, not just Montgomery. That's a big reason I thought Montgomery would pop, but it was with Gibbs. He was the hot hand of this game. But to start off with a run like this, and I just loved it because of Jahmyr Gibbs' ability to stick and press upfield, press into this A gap, and then bounce back outside into the B gap, which is where the lane is, and take 3 guys with him. So this is one of the missed blocks that you had here from Frank Ragnow, working on Jerry Tillery, who I said coming into the game I would go at, rushing the football. And here, you get the blown block, kind of punched him in his chest. Frank loses the block. So right here, lane is clogged. A-gap is not there. We got to get out of there. But if you're looking at it, you would say to yourself, okay, A-gap's not there. Neither is the B-gap because Harrison Phillips is handling that. And then you got Josh Metellus filling downhill. It's just where is he going to fill? Well, watch Jahmyr Gibbs. Even Ivan Pace off the backside. A-gap is not there. But watch Jahmyr Gibbs press it upfield. Bam, he sticks it upfield, bounces out of it. Now you get Harrison Phillips working over the gap. You get Metellus to fill. You have Jerry Tillery, who's already in that lane. Ivan Pace off the backside. And as he stabs upfield and as he presses that A-gap and then bounces right out of it, he pulls everybody with him. And even though there's a little bit of a stumble here and it's not as slithery as you would hope maybe working through this, he still finds a way to grab 4 yards on a run play like this. So it's a great play by Jack Campbell. You're going to see the scrape here as he's working on the backside. We knew coming into this, A lot of outside rushing scheme, these toss plays just like this to Aaron Jones, who's such a threat, but it was going to be about that contain, right? How well do we scrape on the backside? And while the Lions did some different things in terms of the front that they put out there, I mean, at times we had a 6-1 front on the field, which I love to take away some of these outside runs. We had 5-2 looks. Here we're going more of your kind of straightforward 4-3 front against this 11 personnel look. This was the Lions' game plan, really all game. It was putting their base personnel on the field like they do here with 4 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers. But then in the back end, you would see this shell coverage. So in this case, a lot of times it was that cover 4 coverage on a first down to try not to give up the big explosive chunk play against play action. But then they could also play at a pretty aggressive safety depth, as you see right here with Kirby Joseph, so they could press up a little bit. We had talked about this a little bit in the preview, and this was kind of the Lions' go-to in this game. I thought they'd be crazy aggressive on first down, but instead they were aggressive in their personnel and also utilizing their safeties in that shell look. But I do like the backside scrape here from Jack Campbell. Watch him read and react, get over top here of the blocks, and then you see that body control to finish here as Alex Anzalone forces it back inside. You see the body control to step down, make the play. The point of emphasis defensively for me in this game, as I stated, was stop the run first, right? Make this team throw the football. And it came on early downs because they are a heavy tendency run team on first down. And Aaron Jones in this game had 93 yards, I believe, rushing in this game. He only averaged, however, about 4.5 yards per carry outside of the big run to begin the game that he bounced against man coverage where Terrion stuck his nose in, and then he gave up the touchdown. So it wasn't shutting him down necessarily, but it was a very solid day defensively, and you could tell it was, hey, we have to stop the run on first down. The guy that I wanted to give some love to, and the problem with doing this is like, again, with cornerbacks, a lot of times it's not about the outcome, more so about like, did the ball get thrown in your direction? And for Terrion Arnold, that's where I wanted to showcase just a few of these plays as we go throughout this video. It's just showcase him in coverage because I know we did the grading the rookie performances during the bye week, and I was like, I think Terrion is trending the right direction. Well, I think this game was built on that, and I think that this was the best game I've seen him in coverage from start to finish. This was a heck of a challenge, and even though he wasn't matched up with Justin Jefferson one-on-one over and over, Justin Jefferson was relatively held in check, about as good as you're going to do, 7 receptions, 90 yards, and he saw different matchups. He saw Meek Robertson on the touchdown, he saw some Carlton, he saw some Terrion, and clearly the Lions were like, hey, when we have a chance, when he's on the ball, we're going to jam him at the line, we're going to throw off that timing. And this isn't an example of that, but it just shows Terrion Arnold where I think he's grown so much. We had a quarters look where he gave up like a deep curl, but you could put that more on Kirby Joseph, to be honest. I love the work that he did in man coverage, and we talked about the top of the route. I said coming out of the draft, I thought his transition ability was elite. That was his best trait. And I think right now we're starting to see that we're seeing the footwork at the top of the route. So watch him here at the bottom of your screen at the top of the route. I think I may need to move myself so that we can see this perfectly here. So watch him at the bottom of the screen. You see how he's able to mirror the footwork with the receiver as he settles down into the top of the route. So does Terrion right there with Jefferson. Then there's that transition. He rolls his hips over. He drives on this outbreaking route, and he's all over this route. Now, I believe there was a defensive flag that was called here on Carlton at the top of your screen. Obviously, he's being physical. He got called for a couple of flags in this game. I still love watching Carlton play, and like they said during the broadcast, like, hey, we're going to live with a couple of defensive plays because we're going to be physical. We're going to knock off the timing of your routes, and we'll kind of live with the give and take there. And I'm here for it. Honestly, I'm perfectly here for it. Brian Branch obviously had an exceptional game. I mean, I could just make a video about Brian Branch. It'd be like, yeah, it makes sense. He was that good. And then obviously a Meek fell on this play, but I just love seeing these matchups where the ball doesn't go his way, but it's Terrion Arnold. Now, in terms of a pressure sense, definitely not great, all right? Dan Campbell's onto something when he says we need a little bit more, right? Whether that's what we do schematically. Here, Lions are going to blitz, cover 1 blitz. You're bringing 5 on the play. We need a little bit more. Levi did a little bit as a pressure piece at times in this game, which was nice. The good thing was to contain here. Pascal gets off, makes the tackle. For the most part, we did a solid job at containing, especially once they got into like the red zone or the high red zone. All right, going back here now into his zone coverage look, and this I give a little bit more love to Aaron Glenn, schematically speaking, in terms of what I'm seeing here, because the Lions, obviously we talked about all the Vikings and their disguises. Well, how about the Lions' disguise and stuff? Rush, who's going to drop out on the play? And to me, that's the key, because Levi on the edge here, he's going to drop out into coverage, and you have a Meek Robertson who pre-snap is lining outside. He's outside shading the number 3 receiver, right? This inside slot. But at the snap, he's going to jump outside of everybody. He's going to get that outside contain and push it back inside as Levi's going to drop and become kind of that hook curl zone defender in this cover 3 look. And you could see where kind of that bracket is being created here with Carlton, Terrion, and the free safety. They drop out Trevor Nowaski, and then they're going to blitz on the backside here. Funnel everything in. Your only route concepts are coming from the left side of the field as the tight end stays in, and Carlton does a great job on the backside of stepping down, kind of closing this off. I like how Meek is able to disguise and get out here to the flat, but that was allowed because of the play design in dropping out Levi. You have this hook curl zone taken away, which credit to Aaron Glenn, but really credit to Levi because he actually looked kind of natural dropping into the spot and getting out here. And for Sam Darnold, you would think at the snap, like, oh, we're going to overload this. I'm going to have my guy here, right? We're going to run this hitch. We're going to pull our outside coverage player out of the play. We're going to have something underneath, but Levi's there, so it's not there. Now he has to take off, and he ultimately decides to just check it down. And who is it? It's Trevor Nowaski on the play, out in open space, flying around and making the stop. Our linebackers have played really well. Alex had a good game again. Malcolm, I thought, was making big-time plays. In terms of offensively, not a ton to show here except for this aspect. We said coming into this, I thought that the advantage the Lions offense had was that Goff is willing to take checkdowns. And I think that's what was key. It was like, hey, on first down, be okay with picking 2 yards, right? If you go forward, just be okay with going forward. You don't need the big play on first down. You just need to go forward. You just can't go backward or have nothing. You can't have negatives. And my goodness, that's where I think Jared Goff has been a problem for Minnesota, is that he's just super willing to do that. And his team that loves to blitz a lot, they blitzed at the highest rate in the NFL, but also that drops into a lot of zone coverage and plays with a ton of depth underneath. Goff was just willing to take the check down, and we had like 3 or 4 chunk plays on just check it down to the back, let him go to work. And then when we needed it most at the end of the game, we played off of that. We picked up a big chunk play into the second level, which we will show. So we attacked both. We did a great job of those layers and those levels over the middle of the field for Goff and attacking that depth that they like to create in zone coverage. Just as simple as a play like this, where you kind of have a little bit of breakdown here with Penei Sewell. He gets too wide. You have Bullard kind of becoming a free rusher. Sewell kind of recovers a little bit, helps us out. Here defensively, it was a 2nd and long, and the Lions try to go play action shot play, and here they didn't actually blitz, which typically is the tendency to blitz, and you can see the Lions having their tight ends in line. They're prepared for that to be the case. They don't blitz on the play, so Monty leaks out of the backfield, but you get this missed block early, and what I thought Goff was so good in this game, and I think it's better than I've seen all season, is obviously anticipation, timing, and the constant ability to beat the blitz or to beat a free rusher just by a hair, just by a smidge, and it was him getting the ball out so well on time, not needing to see routes break. The timing was as good as it gets, and I think this team stresses that, like, hey, you better be on point, because if you hesitate to throw something, that blitz is going to get home, right? You're going to get in trouble. You have to let it go. You have to trust the window. And this game, to me, put that on display like, hey, our timing is amazing as an offense. And Goff was so willing to let it go, and he made some great plays like this by just a hair, like, okay, just get the ball out. Get the ball, feels the pressure, finds it late, just gets it out, and you got 6 yards, right? You end up breaking your first touchdown right here after your first 3 drives ended up stalling out, but you end up breaking this touchdown, and to me, obviously, Jahmyr Gibbs, Penei Sewell, you could always shout out Penei Sewell. He looks awesome all the time here. Watch him here. So they're going to slant, they're going to kick down, so you kick down, so he's going to start C-gap, he's going to step down. Now, notice the Lions with kind of this close personnel set, they're using an I formation, Brock right off the backside, split zone block this, and they're going to get up to the second level here with Decker up to Ivan Pace, but they're going to use these close personnel formations. They did this a lot, where they use kind of these close splits, where they were able to get a 3-man front, like a 4-eye, 0-4-eye, and then they put the close sets to pull their outside linebackers a little bit wider, and then they could run right in between that. And here, as they step down, there's Dallas Turner, he steps down into the B gap. Penei Sewell recognized that athletically, boom, presses that inside. Okay, here I got you, KO. Let me step that down. Now, because I know you're my C-gap guy, I recognize that I'm going to step you down. Then I'm going to get out to Gruger Hill right here. Bam, I'm going to plant my block. And all of a sudden, Jahmyr Gibbs just... he's too fast. I mean, he's too fast. And then Frank Ragnow on Harrison Phillips. That was the matchup for me. That was, so it's always the matchup. Watch him here, right? Watch him reach block, bam, gets on Harrison Phillips, gets inside the chest, and then he's just working his feet with him. And when you create that kind of lane and you handle the kick and you don't allow penetration, you just smoothly pick this up. And then Saint just does enough here, I guess, to kind of seal the outside. And you're able to just shoot through that. And then watch the speed of Gibbs. I'm going to let this play. He's so fast. He almost looks like he's trying to catch balance to try to turn the corner here. And even though Gruger Hill, he's like, I want to hold. Like, bro, there's no chance you're catching this guy. He hits this thing with some juice, and there's just no shot. Like, you're not even in the play anymore. Then, obviously, in open field, that's a disaster for any defenders. We talk about how their football intelligence is a smart offensive line, man. They're athletic, as you see here. And these guys do a really good job of rarely having a lot of mistakes in the run game. They're very sound in the run game. They could do different things schematically. They can attack teams different ways. They're just very sound. And they don't have a ton of just, like, mishaps offensively, which you'll see other teams do a lot more. And then here, again, defensively, you want to take away some of these outside runs. You see the front the Lions come out with here. You see how they're playing the line of scrimmage, right? You got 5 guys on the line of scrimmage here with Jack Campbell, but you also have Alex Anzalone outside the tight end. So you have a 6-1 front that you're going basically with here defensively. You want to take away some of these outside runs. Okay, great. Let's press it back inside. Basically showing gaps, right? Less of like the, okay, hey, play downhill, get into the B or A gap, like primary A, that kind of thing. Less of that. It was more so we're going to you show gaps that we're in. Like, hey, you're in this gap right here, Jack Campbell. Alex, you have the outside gap. We're showing gaps pre-snap to make it simple. We're going to force you to cut back. We're not giving you the outside, right? We're not going to let that happen. And then on the backside, they stressed, and this is where we saw the Vikings have 2 chunk plays. Reader didn't play them perfectly, but he also had some good plays. Where on the backside, they stressed DJ Reader because here they had him playing multiple gaps on the weak side of these runs, and that's ultimately where Minnesota started to go to. But the strong side runs, Lions are like, it's not happening. We're taking away the strong side. We're going to force that back inside. Obviously, Alex does that. You see Malcolm Rodriguez on that backside pursuit there. The mirror with the release in the pedal. He's going into a pedal technique here out of this straight man coverage, right? We're going to go cover 1. They're going to play this robber roll with Kirby Joseph rolling down free safety here. So he's going to try to squeeze him out towards the sideline, and they're going to try this, fade attempt. So he's trying not to give it to the inside, goes into pedal, transitions smoothly with him. He's got really good pacing here. There's obviously there's that kind of balance between that tug of war battle, but we love the ball skills of Terrion, and at the catch point there, it's contested well, it's incomplete. He wanted a flag, didn't get it. Beautiful coverage from Terrion Arnold. Things here. First off, Lions going slide protection on the play like this, and they're going to go cover 4 blitz defensively, so they're bringing an extra rusher here. But watch the slide protection first. You see Frank Ragnow, they're sliding right here. You're going to get this one-on-one here with Andrew Van Ginkel. Monty's got to step in, pick up pace. We knew that coming in, they would do that. I think an also interesting aspect of this too was attacking the weak side of these play action sets, passing the football. And what do I mean by that? Well, we know they like to blitz Ivan Pace. So if you're going to go play action on early downs and you expect that Ivan Pace off ball is probably going to blitz and he's their weak inside linebacker, right? Let's pass attack to that side because that's where they're going to be vulnerable. That's where they're going to lack bodies. We don't really see that here, but I just think it's an interesting aspect of like, hey, you could probably run because you know that zone's probably going to be vacated. Someone is going to have to work over there. Thought it was an interesting wrinkle. Didn't really ever think of that in the preview, but it makes a ton of sense. Regardless, still here. Watch the slide protection from Frank. He basically ends up blocking 2 guys here. Boom, right hand inside. Look at the balance, kind of sitting himself down here. He's handling 2 guys at once here in this slide protection. This is beautiful from Frank right now. I'm watching this just like that's money. And then obviously Monty, this is not the best blitz pickup, but you can see with Goff's eyes here, you have Metellus who's trying to fill a vacated zone on this play right here because they bring Ivan Pace, so he's got a lot more room to cover. So again, you work that, and you end up working it with the switch release here with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Lions, for timing purposes, we got to see a lot of like double moves. So you have this like deep curl on the outside here. You're going to get with Patrick, going to have this vertical push. So you're creating these layers, you're creating these levels for Goff, and then again, just by a hair, get the ball before I get hit. Boom, and I'm on time. The ball's leaving, St. Brown's sitting. That timing is what the Lions showcased in this game, and I think this is why they're a problem. They're willing to take the check down, and their timing is big time. Also, they're going to use Brock Wright, offset I formation here. You're getting this 4-man front look. You're going to get someone on the edge here, which is who Brock Wright's going to step down and pick up. So you're getting kind of a 5-man front look, but again, they're using these close packages to push them a little bit wider. Now, they use Khalif a little bit differently later here, but again, watch Frank right now here on Harrison Phillips, right? He's reaching up to this block, boom on Phillips, but this is how you know the Lions offensive line is so sound because they see things, right? Left guard, you got Graham Glasgow, so watch it here, right? You got a 1 technique, so the leverage is 2 Harrison Phillips. So off the ball, Graham Glasgow, boom, sticks himself down, uses that drag hand, pushes him back to Frank Ragnow, so Frank Ragnow can get good control of this block, and then he can create leverage. So now you got a straight one-on-one here. Graham felt it, gets up to the second level, bam, let me go find Ivan Pace. Even though he didn't really find him, let me go find him. He's a little bit slippery there. Then on the backside, KO'd. You have the leverage. Look how fast he's off the ball. KO'd's off the ball before everybody else. Boom, off the ball. Now I got to reset, boom, and I got to seal that block, and he does just that. Then obviously you have the split zone set up right here. Sewell's going to reset too, gets off the ball, quickly resets, split zone. The blocking is incredible. That's what the Lions offensive line is they have so many of these sound plays, and they're just moving teams that just don't match up across the board.
And we also have to give a credit to Decker's block here as well. You see a little hinge block, how he creates kind of the hinge around the wall for this outside zone to pop right in off that inside shoulder.
Okay, back to Jared Goff. As I talked about, this was a constant theme. On time, getting the ball out quickly, beating the blitz by a hair. This was a perfect example, right? Defensively speaking, you have the safety rolling down into the flat. You have a deep single eye safety, so they're going cover 3 here. And the Lions did this about 3 times. 2 times it worked. The other time it got tipped at the line of scrimmage. But for Jared Goff, I know I cut this out a little bit earlier, right? These straight drop setups, you get this free rusher who Monty needs to step down and pick up. He's late to do that. But Goff isn't concerned. He takes the hit. He's willing to stand in there to know, like, I have to hold this flat, look here. Ultimately, single eye safety. Harrison Phillips is going to drive out that way because that's the the zone that he's responsible for. Goff can hold and look there. And then last second, let me turn around and get it back to St. Brown. As I'm hitting my back foot of this 3-step drop, it's on time. It's trusting it to stand in. And as Goff is letting it go, Saint's dialing down. And boom, you got a chunk play because your timing is just that good. Back to the offensive side of things. How about another run play here? And I like the wrinkle here. Khalif Raymond. Hold these backside backers. This time Ivan Pace, right? They're fast flowing. They scrape quickly. Okay, let's hold them. How are we going to do it? We're going to use this jet setup. Now, we didn't actually give it to him, but we're going to have the receiver work through the line of scrimmage. And as long as we can get Ivan Pace to just hesitate for a second, rather than just crashing down and getting on top of these plays off the backside. So we get him to hesitate for a second, and now Monty has a chance to get upfield. We're able to then pick up that block by just a hesitation we've caused with Khalif Raymond here. We pick it up again. Look at the movement here with Frank Ragnow out on Harrison Phillips, 5 yards down the line of scrimmage, down the field, and we get a big play. We saw it, obviously, right as soon as the game ended. We were over there on Bleacher Report, so we saw this thing live and what it was. We don't need to spend much time here. Creativity is beautiful. Slide protection to the left. Use Tim Patrick on the pre-snap, the pre-snap motion. You have him step down. He's going to pass protect. So is Monty. You would have had the bodies to do that. And then Sewell makes like a kind of just saving block here on the inside because he gets up the inside. He makes a saving block to allow Goff to get this off. A couple things that I see here. First off, using Tim Patrick like this kind of dictates the coverage pre-snap, which I love, right? Like, this is a team that loves to show this zero coverage look, as we knew coming in, and a lot of times they play quarters out of it, which would, kind of turn into like straight man coverage, but because the Lions start off in a balance set, and then with the motion go unbalanced on the play, they go one receiver here, three over here, it's an unbalanced set. Now, if you're in quarters coverage, someone has to move, right? You either have to have an underneath defender drop out, or your safety's going to have to shift over, or they're just outnumbered on one side of the field, right? Someone's got to move. Well, the edge does not drop out. He rushes on the play. So now okay, this safety did not work over top. Probably not quarters coverage. Probably not. What does it turn into? It's cover three. It's cover three on a blitz. They're going to drop out off the other side. This free safety is playing very aggressively, and he's not getting much depth, which is why this ends up happening between the two seams, which we know a weakness of cover three is the seams. But why this is so beautiful is because coming into this game, as we talked about in the preview, I said I would expect more cover three. Just knowing who we are, how teams like to play us historically, teams would rather play cover three, give us the one-on-ones on the outside, make us press the seams. Teams would rather give us that. So that's what they did. They said, all right, we're going to go cover three blitz. So you use the motion, which tells the coverage. They step down. He's playing underneath zone. That's why he let St. Brown run right by him. Now your middle field safety, Goff, can just hold him with his eyes. Hold it. Your pass protection is there because you use Patrick to actually block. He's not even running a route. So there's no threat here. So he's basically letting Saint go and going to nowhere. He's not working underneath one. He's just letting him go on the play. So you would have had a curl if you wanted to. So you pick up the pass protection, utilize the motion, and now you can have Goff's eyes because they're expecting blitz. Ball's going to be out fast. You drop out here to just say, okay, hold this defender, pull the safety on the play. Harrison drops out again. No one moved to this side. So you know that, hey, nobody's carrying that over here. And as Goff comes back, Sewell makes a saving tackle. Goff kind of resets, puts it out there, and just delivers a amazing throw. An absolutely amazing throw. And again, back to timing. It's perfect timing. Absolutely perfect timing. Now here, passing the football, this was the interception by Branch. Won't spend much time here. But the thing that kind of stuck out to me is, he has an open guy, and obviously you hear the rumors. Like I said, I didn't think Sam Darnold was that great when watching and preparing for this game, so I kind of understand the rumors. That being said, though, they have an open guy because this is what the Vikings do really well, is they create these little, delayed rub routes where here's the flat, but you kind of have this chip delay with the tight end, so they end up running into each other. So the flat's actually wide open. Darnold just misses it and throws a pick. This is not unique. It's not like a one-time thing. It's like Darnold threw a pick. I never would have thought. He's done this. He's done this season where he makes a bad read downfield, and that's exactly what he does here. What do we know about the Vikings? Well, they're going to run these long developing crossing routes to play action. That's what they've done. It's how they beat us in the past because we like to play man. They want to run long developing crossers because it's hard to cover that throughout the play. So what do you need? You need safeties that can interchange, that can step down and pick it up. So here, you're kind of playing both sides of it, right? Kirby Joseph can read through it. You're going to bracket in Jefferson, right? You want to get physical off the line. Carlton does that. You want to throw off this timing. That's exactly what he does. So you get safety up on top. He presses. Good off the release here. You step down Kirby Joseph. Now on the opposite side, Brian Branch is going to be responsible for that half field side here. And as you can see, it's a long developing route. It's really tough. Terrion ultimately can't stick with it. So now Brian Branch steps down. He makes a poor read. You see Kirby step down. I think he just assumed oh, that's going to be open. Kirby stepped down. You probably have a single high safety, but you don't. They're actually playing half the field here. He's sticking there. He's planted. He's not rolling up top. So because of that, now as he separates, their safety is still standing there, and he throws it right to Branch, who just has receiver type of ball skills. I mean, that's where we're at this point. This guy looks like a receiver playing on defensive back. Speaking of taking the checkdowns, just take the checkdowns, right? I mean, it's that simple, right? Defensively speaking, cover three blitz. Again, back to that cover three look. They want to be aggressive. Lions on first down. I thought the decision to try to go play extra shots made a lot of sense because, they want to blitz it in second down. So I thought that made a ton of sense. But here, just willing to take the check down. Look at the depth that they're playing with and underneath coverage. Look at that. This is a run fake. Look at how deep they are on this play. So if you're positive on first down and you can take the check down, then you're in a great spot. And here, the depth that they're playing with, it's just like, hey, give them the check down, man. That's what they're giving us, and Goff is never afraid to take that. It's beautiful. I love it. It works perfect for this team. Also, on top of that, watch his eyes. It's hard to see here. He's just watching that second level throw. He's watching it, holding, and then he goes underneath. That's why there's no break here from the defender. They wanted to take away second level. That's who they've been all year. Take away the second level. We can't give up the second level. Goff's like, cool, I'll just take the first level throw because we're going to stay on schedule anyways. That's our game plan. They're going cover 4 defensively here. It's actually a 2nd and 11, so the Lions are behind the chains here. And they have this route, which is just a great design. You got 2 verticals here. You have here, we're going to switch off the line of scrimmage. You're going to use Jameson to pull the safety out of play because, again, it's quarters. So you use the number 2 receiver by the switch release, right? You switch the release. He becomes the inside receiver. So now you're going to pull that safety out of the play. You're also going to pull the corner out of the play here. The scissor route combination. And then Goff, last second, just before he takes a sack, it's great timing. It's excellent patience. He's getting the ball out just in time, and Laporta makes an excellent grab. This play is just one of those wrinkles where it's kind of like the Jameson touchdown, where if you guys remember, like we saw it this year, we saw it in the pass against Tampa where the Lions went out there, they kind of just forget their normal cadence. They just immediately snap it. It's like the silent count, right? And you just like snap it and everybody's off. They're not ready for it. You get the big play. We had it against Dallas this year. It's kind of like that running the football, right? They go to the 0 look on 3rd and 7 inside the 10. So you're thinking, okay, it's a pass. Got to be a pass play. The Lions like, we're still going to run the ball, but let's make it look like a pass. They're expecting pass. They're playing the pass. They don't have the bodies in here, right? They have C gap, B gap. They got this guy playing both gaps here because they got a B gap. They don't have the bodies for this, right? They're playing the pass here. So the Lions are like, cool, let's run it. But we're going to utilize a short motion right before the snap to take Josh Metellus' attention, because usually when you're in these crowded situations, you're going to pass off everything in man coverage. You're not just going to have guys run crossers and just let that happen most of the time.
But regardless if you would have switched this off or not, in the past, Minnesota's tendency within these goal line situations was to give these 0 coverage looks and then play with these underneath zone defenders.
Attention to short motion. So as they do the short motion, as soon as he calls that motion, watch Goff immediately snap it, right? He sees the defensive back look away right here. Bam. Defensive back's watching short motion. Snap the football. Give it to me. Let's go. Snap the football. He's not paying attention, and you have a wide open gap, and you're just walking into the end zone. And you can see Goff's celebration. Just one of those little mini wrinkles. The Lions have done things like that before to make a big play. Came out there like, okay, let's run these little RPO bubble screens. And the first one was successful. They went at Terrion, didn't handle it well. But Carlton did. And I want to give Carlton some love here. He handles this one, force it back inside. Then obviously Malcolm, who was making plays all day, shuts that down. There's no gain on that one. Now, as I said, Minnesota's adjustment was, hey, they're going to take away these strong side-outside runs. We have to go weak runs. And they had 2 successful plays. This was probably the worst one from Reeder. The other one wasn't terrible. He just didn't have the length to get out there. He made some plays too, but you're putting a lot of stress on him to play a couple of gaps here, working on the weak side here, and stumbled, right, kind of handling this combo block. Another time he felt like he stumbled a little bit, kind of trying to jump into the other side of the gap, but here he handles the combo block, stumbles right there, bam, and he doesn't have the feet to get back and recover on this play, so you give up an open run lane. That was one of the tweaks that they made, but again, I want to give Terrion some love here. At the snap, you have Terrion, who shows press on the play, bail out of coverage. They're going to go cover 3. The Lions, discipline, they handle this really well. It's why Branch is out here on the flat, because even though they delayed this, Carlton doesn't dive downhill on the play fake. He's able to stay over top. They force the check down, and as Terrion shows, like, hey, at the snap, I'm going to press. At the snap, I'm going to bail. So I'm going to show press, I'm going to bail, stay on top of the route. I'm not going to give you this fade route, so don't even try it. So it turns into a dig route here, and then watch how well Terrion plays this, right? Look at the pacing at the top of the route. Look at the leverage that he has. Sits himself down, boom, and he's working on this deep in-break run. Now, he has safety help, but it's still really sound coverage. Then obviously they force the check down. Goff at the line of scrimmage. I mean, just to add on to the game that he had, he's getting us to the right play. I talked about Darnold doing this well. He's getting us the right play. Utilize motion pre-snap. You see that it's man coverage, right? This was a huge 3rd down and 9 after just going into a check for man coverage and throwing the out route to Khalif to make this possible. So now it's 3rd and 9. Goff brings over St. Brown pre-snap. They can use the hard count, which they did as well. They're in man coverage defensively. So, all right, sweet. Let's work off of that. Now, another aspect of this too is it's not like pure cover 1 in the sense that this safety is working middle of the field, because they're going to play and they're going to give up this outside leverage. See how their cornerbacks leverage-wise are not protecting, are not forcing this and funneling this to the middle of the field. They're actually forcing it to the sideline, which is why Khalif Raymond's route works so well, because they're kind of playing like a 2-deep, even though Harrison's walking down. They change the play at the line. Gibbs moves out. They go empty. And again, you're not getting a pure, like, hey, force him to the middle field. They're saying give him the outside release. And the Lions just say, cool, we'll take advantage of that. We're going to pull you out of the play, J-Mo. He did did this multiple times. I only got the ball one time. It's like, oh, he had a bad game. He didn't have a bad game. He was just helping us by pulling everybody else out of the play. Use Khalif Raymond. What a weapon here on Stephon Gilmore, who just could not hang with him, as we saw in the touchdown. And you're giving him an outside release. You're giving him the outside release. So you're going this 2-deep look. You know it's man coverage. You just run an out. You pull out the outside corner, and bam, he sticks it. He separates big time. One thing that we do about Stephon was he was struggling to transition at the top of the routes to stick with the guys. We'll see that exploit again later in this one. And then Goff, the last look at the timing. Look at the timing here, right? You have the stunt pick up from the inside. He kind of stands in. Now he's getting out as soon as the route's breaking. It's beautiful timing.
Lions having this beater to use Khalif and to use the outbreaking route, to me, it's based on when you look at what the tendency is again of Minnesota. Their tendency is third and long is to play 2-man or Tampa 2. It's not to play a cover 1 look and to funnel everything inside. So the Lions knew that they could attack the sidelines, but it's also the reason why a late play, one of the last plays we'll look at, is why the route concept wasn't there, because they changed it up and they did funnel everything inside.
Similarly, working on with Stephon Gilmore here. And again, just look at from Goff's perspective when he's seeing this, right? You run the running back on this wheel out of the backfield. You have Laporta push up field, but Goff can see right away that the cornerback and the linebacker are going to pass this off right here. You see how Ivan Pace does not just chase the back. Instead, he drops out and takes Laporta. So Laporta runs the sit-down route. But at the snap, when you see the linebacker race out there, man coverage, right? He's chasing the back. That's who he's assigned to. And you can kind of see pre-snap that if it was man, probably going to be assigned to the back here because this would be on your tight end. But they're going to switch it. So even though they switch it, he's still racing out there. You know that it's man coverage. So he's got to flip around and try to deal with Laporta. So as Goff is like, okay, don't like that. Let me move on to progression 2. Stay on time here. And you see him drop out. You're like, wait a minute. There's nobody here on Khalif Raymond because Khalif Raymond, who was matched up with Gilmore, broke his guy at the line of scrimmage. Nobody covering him, and you can see that. I don't even know if Goff is looking at this route. It's just being on schedule within this offense to see the tight end, get back here, doesn't love it, but you can see Khalif Raymond has no one chasing him. He's able to watch Laporta and just kind of rip this thing across the field. I wanted to give some more love to Terrion Arnold here. So again, they got us a couple times with some of these rubs. You can see they're going to stack it here with the receiver. He's going to work on Naylor over top. They're going to jerk route back over the middle here. Now the Lions had to make an adjustment because offensively, and this was second and long, the Lions were going like this 2-man coverage. They were kind of just playing that. Let's play straight up man. Let's have 2 guys over top so we could be aggressive and we could press our receivers like this, Addison off the line of scrimmage. Then the Lions had to make an adjustment because Minnesota started running drag routes. So like, okay, they don't want to give up this mesh kind of concept, which is what we've seen them do. So we're going to play a robber roll. We're going to step him down and try to take that away. Well, here they're going to run this jerk route and watch Terrion Arnold stick with this. So he's got to stay over top, stays over top, right, in terms of depth here with the receiver, sits down with Naylor right here, bam, he's mirroring the route. Then he's going to try to take off again, sticks with it, just took that thing away, absolutely took it away. Now Darnold's going to take off and scramble, but you can see the coverage and how beautiful this was from Terrion Arnold. And again, that's what I wanted to focus on here, was giving Terrion Arnold some love. Physicality there with Carlton. You can see the linebackers underneath doing their job there with Jalen. He's going to take off. You need to find a way to get more pressure. But the aspect is Terrion Arnold is doing work. And I want to give one more example of Terrion Arnold doing work in coverage right here, right? So man coverage, Jordan Addison, there's the motion, right? That's where they can create leverage. They can get the release that they want here. The Lions aren't going to switch on this play. They don't want to create that kind of leverage. Don't want to give that leverage. And again, they're keeping a safety over top just like this and Brian Branch so that they're not giving up that big shot play with inside the 30 here in that high red zone. So instead of switching and saying, okay, Carlton, you take it, and then having Terrion give up outside leverage where this corner route that Justin Jefferson is going to run is easy leveraged on the play, they're instead going to stick with their guy here. So Terrion's got to work back over top here. Carlton can play straight up one-on-one with him on the play with the safety over top. Watch Terrion work on this deep out route here against Addison. Look how he sits down on the route, bam, breaks on the out, and he's taking it away. He absolutely brackets that thing in, takes it away. This is not an option for Darnold.
To me, I think the biggest area of growth looks like the route recognition, the anticipation from Terrion, because you're going to see him kind of flip his hips as he's working over top of this. He is not letting them get this outside route. He's anticipating the outside route. That's why he settles down on top of it to squeeze it back inside. This looks like a guy that has big-time route recognition this week, and that's picking that up.
So Darnold could sit there, hit his back foot. Let me throw the out route. Not there. Terrion sits down on that. And then obviously they have help over top to deal with that. So again, the coverage, Terrion is looking smooth. He's looking fluid. He's looking anticipation heavy. He's playing really balanced and low in his stance. He's not getting propped up. Was the adjustment, right? We can't give up these drags and these little like mesh routes or these deep crossers. So we're going to step down to safety to take that away and branch here. And then here, instead of running the jerk route, because now the safety's there, we're going to try to run out of it, run this whip route. Well, again, Terrion handles it well. Top of the route, sits down with Jordan Addison, who works into this bunch right here. Bam, sits down, and then he's able to react to break outside. He took this route away. There is nowhere to throw this football as he breaks out of this route right here, right? You could throw the hitch. He's short of the first down. down. Terrion's on top of that. He's at the sticks. And then he drives out of it. You can't throw the ball because Terrion's on top of it. He's super balanced. Meek's going to get the straight one-on-one with Justin Jefferson. That way you don't give up leverage. And then on top here, you have Carlton Davis, who's working on with Jalen Naylor with safety up over top. The coverage is phenomenal in a spot like this. And here, I mean, a little bit of pressure. I mean, I would say a little bit of pressure here. You're only bringing 4, so there's a little bit of pressure late. Got out of the pocket. This was great contained here by James Houston and Melk Rodriguez to make that stop. And then an underrated play that ultimately won us the game because we end up getting a field goal. If we give this up, it's a tie football game. We're playing it differently down the stretch. We may still win, but we have to play it differently. It was this pass breakup on the 2-point conversion. I was asking live, like, yo, who tipped that? That was a key tip. I thought somebody tipped it. It wasn't a great throw. That being said, though, watch Brian Branch, man. So usually you get to goal line spots. You're a couple yards out. You're going to play coverage. You're expecting to pass. So teams play goal line man, which is you're going to switch everything because we are in such a condensed area that these tiny rub routes, if we're playing straight man, they're going to get somebody open for tight window throws. So we're going to play switch man coverage. Gotcha. So watch how fast Brian Branch sees this, right? They go bunch, outside leverage, right on top here with the tight end with Alex Anzalone, and then the inside, you're going to have Brian Branch. Now they can adjust. So as you're going to see right here, we can shift with it. Kirby, you take it. I'm going to step into your role. Nope, he's going to work back. Okay, we got to get back to our spots here, but we're playing switch man coverage because it's goal line man. Alex is going to stick with this guy. He's going to run this drag. Right here, as soon as he breaks into this corner route and steps back inside to allow Terrion to hold outside leverage and take away the corner, he's going to switch it right here. Bam, I'm stepping down to that. I'm taking away Addison. No delay. Now Terrion has outside leverage. He takes away the corner route. There is no delay. The communication's on point right here. Bam. Communication's on point. Branch sees it so fast and steps down out of the play, and he's actually the reason that this pass is incomplete. Throws it low and away. Branch is all over it. It's incomplete. Branch, all the great things he did in this game, that's just another one I don't even think shows up on a stat sheet of anything because it's a 2-point try, but it was still beautiful. Now, one of the knocks that I had here offensively was we get a man coverage look, and clearly it's man coverage here pre-snap, and this was the sack that we took on third down. Route trees here that we're running. We have one man beater in St. Brown working over the middle of the field. They roll the safety. Yes, it's different. They disguise it. They didn't go 2-man. They rolled down a safety. So obviously maybe that just threw us off. Hey, we're expecting 2-man coverage, right? That's what it looks like. That's what they do on third down. But they don't do that. They go cover 1, bring down a robber, and he takes away St. Brown. Okay, but the second options that we had aren't great here. Like, I feel like the running back should be more involved. Do something here with Gibbs, just swinging him out. It's just not I mean, if he completes his pass, maybe he makes a miss in space. We haven't constantly seen that. Slot fade, and if you are, he has outside leverage. They're funneling this in, which again can give you the tell that they're probably playing a robber role. This is probably not straight 2-man here because they're trying to funnel to the middle of the field. So that can be a tell like, hey, dude, they're funneling us to the middle. It's probably cover 1. Well, in that case, he's playing outside leverage. So he's not giving you the outside release, or JMO has to go get it because of slot fade. Now you're just funneling yourself in. There's not much room here to throw this. Now, Goff doesn't have time because of a blown block. You run a curl on the outside. You run a curl on the outside here. I just don't love the route tree concepts here. I don't think the Lions gave themselves a great chance that if St. Brown is taken away, that there's any really place to go here. Goff would have had to just like force a curl route, which I don't love from this far away. Timing. It was really about timing here because you start off with the run. Jahmyr Gibbs, maybe my favorite run of the day. I think he picked up about 14 here after running it on first down. Again, the blocking is beautiful. Look at this. Look at where Frank is on the play with Phillips. This guy is blocking him 5+ yards down the field. Frank, have yourself a day, my guy. He's doing work. Everybody else is too, though. Tops it all off with some beautiful running here. You're going at Tillery on this play. KO'd is handling that. And then watch him, right? Quick feet, short area. There's the contact balance that we'd like to see. Then bam, look at the quickness. Look at the shake here. St. Brown does enough to get the block here, but you see that stop and start burst? I was like, ooh, okay, Gibbs. I see. We saw some of that last year showing up now as a runner, which is beautiful. And then here, 2 plays I want to string together before we wrap this up, why this matters so much. So first off, we're going to play action. We're going to check it down. Cover 4 blitz. So to bring an extra defender, it's first down and 10. Cover 4 blitz against play action. The Lions, everything at their disposal. They have time. They only need a field goal. So you go cover 4 blitz. They bring an extra defender. They're playing with tons of depth. As we talked about, they're playing with tons of depth. Take the check down. Goff quickly does that. He says quarters coverage. St. Brown's taking the corner to safety. Cool. You guys are playing too deep on the play. I'm going to check it down. You got Brock Brett sitting down. You got the running back. You just swing it out, pick up 14 yards. You're almost in field goal range now. I love this, though, because here, now you're in a spot where you're at the 36. Everybody's thinking, oh, run the football. They're going to run into field goal range. And Ben Johnson's like, you know what? No, I'm going to throw it into field goal range. But why I love this because they're expecting run, right? You got a safety in the box. Everybody's expecting a run. Look at the front that they're playing. They're playing a 6-1 front. Metellus in the box. Everybody's expecting run. So it's going to be tough to run against this. So instead of run against a brick wall and hope that you go a little bit forward and set up a long field goal, he's like, I'm going to throw the ball. But because I just threw the ball, and I took the check down. They're going to play the underneath routes. They go cover 3 blitz because they're playing the run, so they're blitzing an underneath defender still, and you give yourself 2 check down blocks. Again, great pass protection here. Shout out to that. Frank Ragnow with some recovery, knocks his man on the ground. That's massive here against the cross face. Look at this, though. They sit down the immediate curl route, right? You have Sam Laporta immediately step inside, runs this curl route. Instead of chipping, he just immediately runs the curl. And then you have Gibbs out of the backfield swing out into the flat. Now, if they give you this, take it, fine. But notice how they play underneath here. They're playing with all this depth all day long. And then watch them here. You force them to step down underneath. They're like, we can't give that up. Now they're aggressively playing it. And then in the back, and you say, well, hold up. Let's go at Stephon Gilmore. They're seeing us take this check down. Let's go at Gilmore, who's struggling to transition. And Tim Patrick, excellent pacing, kind of slow plays this, the vertical push on the post and the deep crosser. And when you see these guys underneath, you know the second level is now open. The thing that they don't want to give up the second level, it's now open. So instead of running against a brick wall and be like, I'm trying to get a few yards, set up an easier field goal, you're like, dude, let's just go to the second level. They're not playing the first level. They just saw it. They're aggressive to take that away. And then Goff can just look and hold it underneath. It's beautiful timing here. And then he just trusts it. He plays excellent ball placement. Strong hands in traffic for St. Brown to pull this thing down. And the timing of this play call was terrific. And you put yourself in a position to go walk it off with Jake Bates. Excellent timing there. An excellent game. A prove-it game. I think the Lions proved themselves in this one in a lot of ways, like how really good their offense can be. It doesn't matter, and we have an answer for this. And it was a great adjustment. It was the close splits to run the football. It was finding a way to run against a really good run defense. It was the matchups with Frank Ragnow that we won. It was Terrion Arnold's growth. It was so much. It was the adjustments defensively to be like, hey, in this spot, we're actually going to go 2-man. We're not going to roll it. And then at the same time, it's like, hey, we're going to take away that strong side outside run. You're going to have to go away from that. Lions had their adjustments schematically, but they also won their matchups personnel-wise. That being said, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Lions are on a 5-1, number 1 in the NFC North, and now we're on to the Tennessee Titans. Thank you, for watching. Shout out to our sponsor of today's video. That is BetUS. Use that promo code YouTube150 to get a 150% deposit match on your first deposit, 125% on your next 2 deposits, up to $2,000. Thank you, for watching, and I'm out.